I just had a random. Hey, everybody, it's Dre. I'm sorry, I'm just talking to the microphone. I just had a random thought about something from 20 years ago, and I want to tell the guys and get their live reaction if they have one. So, I would say late 2001, early 2002, I got a mystery package in the mail. It was from Nintendo, and it was like Pikmin seeds and like a little pot and like a stick you'd put the seeds on and stick into the pot and water the pot, and you'd grow like something. However, mine grew like little baby like sprouts and then died real quick. So I think I fucked it up. But do you guys know what I'm? You guys have ever heard of this?
I didn't get no damn Pikmin seeds.
I didn't get this in the mail, but I do remember that brief time where they tried to sell you Pikmin seeds in different places, and it was going to grow the flowers that sort of looked like them.
Yeah, if this was supposed to grow flowers, it definitely didn't work. Like I said, it was probably my fault, but I just got this mystery package in the mail. It was bizarre, and I never thought about this again until just now, and I needed to get it off my chest. I'm glad you guys were here for this.
There's probably restrictions on selling Pikmin opium north of the border.
You guys stood no chance. Okay, let's start the show. Hello, party people. It's your boy, Dre. It's the fine time. It's the video game land. You guys know that already. Steve, have you ever advanced a war?
Geez, not on purpose, but I guess you want me to step right into it? Is that what we're doing?
I have to ask Kevin if he's ever advanced a war so he can get mad at you about not helping him advance a war.
I sure tried until some shitty podcast host didn't want to help me advance any more wars any further. He knew he could have. He just wanted to spit on me from his high mountain.
He needs to be high so you can be low. So, yeah. I mean, that's,
Look, you know what they say, those that can't do, teach. And, since I can do, I can't teach you. Sorry, Kevin, you're on your own.
Wow.
Fuck.
Jesus Christ almighty. Steve will tell us about how we advanced a war once and twice. The Reboot camp.
Yeah, guys, guess what? After a year's delay due to a very real war, probably, the Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp game is here. And I've played it, so we can all stop fucking complaining about it now. Okay? We can all stop now, right?
It is so... I just want to say before you get started, it is so... I don't know the word for it. Tacky. That people just kept saying, where's the Advance War? Dog, you know why they're not releasing it. Shut up. Like, it made me uncomfortable, personally.
I think tacky's suitable.
Yeah, tacky, right?
But yeah, it's here. You can get it on your Nintendo Switch system. And right off the bat, I should bring it up. It is both games. And despite all the presentations and the big warnings and the big fake metal gate they stick in front of the second game, you can play the second one right out the gate after you finish the enforced tutorial. So if you're a weirdo like Kevin who thought he'd save some time by playing the first one a few months ago and then just mosey on into the second one on the Switch, you can do that, even though there's all sorts of other warnings that the game does, like, hey, we're all trying to have a good time in the Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp. You don't want to just skip ahead to 2, don't you? Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't have ever expected that they would stop anybody.
I think the other part of it is that a lot of there were some shared unlockables between the two, so it doesn't quite balance out if you just jump in right away, that you buy with Advance Wars coins. That's what they call them.
I would never be that tacky.
Yeah, okay.
Wow.
But hey, what is an Advance War? I hear everyone saying from home, because I'm the only one that plays these strategy games. It's Fire Emblem's older brother, really, but It's like making love to a woman, you know? You got to learn how all the units work and massage them just so across the board and make them sing. And that's how you win matches across the grids.
I'll take a certain amount of personal attacks on this show, but being a poor lover is not one of them. I know what you're insinuating.
Yeah, and also everyone knows what an advance war is. I'm almost positive.
Really? I don't think any of the listeners knew that it was making love to a woman. I don't think any of them knew that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm here getting laid in Advance Wars land.
By Max.
Max.
Oh, you mean Max?
I guess it's a good time to bring up why
he's gonna ignore me.
Yeah, I am gonna ignore you.
He's gonna just ignore me.
I'm ignoring you. We're moving on to why.
Oh my god,
we got the art's great because Way Forward's here, you know, doing their faux anime style for the character portraits, but then they have like in-game models for the actual units and things that very much invoke Advance Wars, but you're kind of wondering why they couldn't use that hand-drawn thing for the whole game. Probably budget, probably frame rate issues or something. I don't know.
Can I interrupt here? I've noticed this myself, and I thought that was really strange and almost kind of bad. Why would you not use the shit that you drew, like for the intro, for the portraits? I have no idea why they wouldn't do that.
I mean, it looks fine. You get what they're going for, but I mean, it's very jarring to go from that. This isn't where it stops being jarring either, because yes, Advance Wars has a bitchin' soundtrack, even if you don't like the game.
This is what I want to hear about.
It still does have a bitchin' soundtrack. And there's even like more bitchin' versions of the commanding officer themes that play when you use their commanding officer powers. And it's a great flourish, which is why it drives me up the wall with why they didn't go all the way with voiceover. See, unlike Fire Emblem, Advance Wars was never a very complicated story, even though it's about geopolitical conflict. So, which is why you would think the goofy combination of weird dialogue and fun art could have just been fun war tons of shooty bang bang. Ha ha! I'm Commander Nonsense. You'll never stop me. But you know, you get brief sound bites that are fun, like possum spear. You're like, okay, this is great. Keep going, and then they just keep to just give you plain text for the rest of a given line. And like, come on, guys, you couldn't.
That kind of sucks.
You couldn't book all your voiceover actors for a few hours. This is only slightly better than what I was complaining about in Diefeld Chronicle, where they had voiceover that wasn't on the screen. We have voiceover that starts with what's on the screen and then goes away.
That seems cheap. I don't know how else to say it other than cheap. How much is this anyway? This is not a $60 product, is it?
It is.
Oh, no.
It's both games, though. I mean, back in the day, both Advance Wars titles would have been $60.
Okay, but look at the calendar.
And that's I guess that's another thing. It is about the same experience as it was 20-ish years ago. I mean, I'm only mostly done with the first one's campaign. If 2 is dramatically different, I will come back with an editorial reply of some kind. The tutorial is thankfully more streamlined to be kinder to those of us that know what we're doing and to be less of an info dump to new folks, because after a while that tutorial was a pain in the ass. It's like, okay, this is how you climb up mountains. Okay, this is how you drive down a road. This is how you learn to go in the van. This is how you climb into the helicopter. This is how you climb into the boat.
This is how you make love to a woman.
This is why I'm much better at this than you guys, and that's why you're all taking showers on between first act episodes.
Whoa!
Like you're not in those.
Thank you. You are not going to insinuate to this audience right now that you are not in the shower with us. There's no way you're going to do that on these airwaves.
I find that kind of offensive, to be honest.
Yeah, you need to retract that statement right now.
Steve retracts nothing as he brings up that you have another option to restart your own turn. Here's what I find more egregious than anything else. There's an online mode, but only if you have friends. So yes, even though it was clunky as hell, Days of Ruin, which was the last one we got before this one, had the online mode. And I don't know, I feel like there's a very missed opportunity in not having a rotating map system like Splatoon has for us friendless wonders, or even just having the friend editor, which I might need soon, a map editor
Yeah.
where I can just exchange maps or just plop them up there with passwords or whatever. Because as much as I'd love to do the road to 100 Advance Wars maps, no, I can't. What am I doing? I'm just going to send them to nobody. I guess if someone out there has this game and wants to see a map I made, hit us up.
That's actually a really big missed opportunity. This could have been Advance Wars Maker on the side secretly, right? I have no idea why that's not a thing.
The map maker was always there, so this isn't new. This was something they could have easily just rolled into and did. I don't know why they didn't.
It just doesn't make any. I mean, what a missed opportunity on a lot of fronts here.
You could do aesthetic maps, but I wondered, like, trying to make that a heavy element. I feel like there's only so much gameplay wise you can do. I don't think you could ever want to make 100 maps. Would you want to make 10, Steve?
I mean, probably not, but I mean, it would be nice to see if I could get some feedback from the Advance Wars community, of which there are many of us.
I just feel like should be a standard thing. Like Proteus, a game I didn't like very much. Remember the old school shooty bang bang thing that came out. I didn't really care for it that much. However, there was like maps you could just download and play that uploaded by users, which is like great. So if you want to play that game a lot more than what's in the game, you can. I can't see a world in which that should be a thing. If an indie game like that can do it, Advance Wars, I don't know. I guess this game can't even hold 60 frames a second. So what should I expect from Way Forward, huh?
I don't know. I think Way Forward aside, I think Nintendo could have spared to throw a few more bucks at this.
I want to get back to that gameplay aesthetic for a second. Do you think this looks better than the original Game Boy Advance versions? Because I honestly don't, and I don't want to be the hipster guy saying like pixel art always looks better. I think that they would have been better served to do this in like an HD 2D style, or just release it as a 2-pack. I mean, I think you'd have a hard time justifying it as a full price purchase. But I think it would have been a better experience just looking at it if they would have just had the first 2 Advance Wars games on a cartridge.
Even that you would have needed to do some work with, because have you looked at the Game Boy Advance games on Game Boy Advance Nintendo Switch Online? I mean, they look good, but you can't just throw them on as is. You
yeah,
can't.
they definitely could have done something. I just think that like going to that like kind of like bloomy Play-Doh style was not. I think it was ill-advised.
It looks better when you're playing it, but I don't think Way Forward should have been free. I think someone from Intelligent Systems should have been like, "Hey, come on."
I think this probably wasn't feasible because of the way we do animation nowadays and 3D models and such. The whole game should have just looked like that animated intro, honestly. Like, right? That would be the ideal situation if they were actually spending money on this, which obviously they weren't. But like, it should have just been a 2D game in that style.
That would have been nice, but I just have a feeling that would have tanked something else.
Well, yeah, because they're using Unity to run this. So, I mean, good luck.
Get it tanked because it's Advance Wars. Anyway.
And lots of people ding on Unity, and that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just saying Unity on Switch, they obviously haven't figured it out. Like River City Girls 2, like everyone knows, right? Like, don't play it on Switch. Like, it's a thing right now. And obviously it's carrying to Advance Wars. I just wonder if they spent any time in the last year trying to improve that, or they just let it sit out there for the, you know what I mean? It's like, well, it's time to release it.
It says version 1.0.0 in the top right corner of the screen, so I'm inclined to say no.
I mean, it's the first version they released to us. That doesn't necessarily mean, I don't know.
I honestly think they've been sitting on this all year. Because this was supposed to come out last April until it didn't.
Okay. I've advanced all the wars I can. We need to talk about
Tchia.
Thank you. I wish I had. Well, I can't play that music. We'll probably get sued.
You think the Tchia company is sitting waiting to like pounce on copyright for their music?
Specifically us. The one of them listens to Fine Time. Specifically, they listen to us, our little show.
What are they going to do? Seize all of our $0 profit of this show?
They might. All future profits. But yeah, Tchia. Tchia. If you haven't heard of this, it was that game that was revealed. What was it? The last State of Play? It's like, everyone go play this on PlayStation Plus in a couple weeks, right? And we did. I played, I believe me and Steve kind of quit at the same point. Sorry for spoilers. Kevin, you played, would you say how much of it?
I probably played for about 4 hours.
Okay, good.
Throwing in the towel.
Okay, we all played a decent amount of it. As you just heard Kevin say, we all threw in the towel. But I actually have a lot of positive things to say about this game. So why don't I start before you guys like start tearing this a new one? So I want to start here. Tchia looks really great. Like, I was worried about the way this game would look because they patched in a performance mode after launch, which usually isn't a good sign. I think Steve played it before that. So but once you turn on that performance mode, you have a really nice, silky smooth experience. I have no idea why this wasn't here from the start. Like, super stylized characters, and like they're like pretty cartoony, but they sort of occupy a somewhat realistic looking space, so everything looks kind of dreamy and honestly kind of wonderful. I love the way Tchia looks, like the clouds and the sun and shit. No, it's not Horizon Forbidden West, but like, man, it looks wild, especially moonlight, like the various times of day. I think this is a really good looking game. Can we give it that before we?
I think that aesthetically, there's definitely some pauses, but I think you're embellishing it too much even in that sense, because a lot of it is repetitive and fairly barren. So I don't think to say like the world is like really lush and looks great is, I think is overselling it.
I wouldn't say lush, and it's definitely not very populated, but it's also not supposed to be. So,
like looking at a line of cheerleaders, very pretty, but very repetitive.
See, I didn't
being too generous.
I don't know. I didn't really feel that way. I didn't really get bored looking at this game, I guess. So maybe, again, that's just going to be a me thing. Like I said, I'm going to be nice to this game than anybody. And real quick, before we move on, I don't expect anyone to understand what I'm about to say here, but I'm going to try anyway. I'm going to sound like a crazy person, but here goes. There's something I find really indescribably alluring about like buildings that look empty or like artificial. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? When you get to that other island the first time and there's like, it's almost like a city, right? But a lot of that place looks like almost surreally empty. It probably wasn't on purpose, right? But you look through the windows of the green and blue tinted windows, and it looks like an office building, and like maybe there's like one person in there, or maybe there's not. It almost looks, like I said, surreal. I don't know what else to call it. This is something you would usually feel like on Nintendo 64 due to hardware limitations, like Pilot Wing 64 as you flew through the buildings, or like Body Harvest, if you will, or for something maybe more people have played, Blast Core, right? Before you knock down all the buildings. Hybrid Heaven, I guess, could give that feel, but like Tchia definitely gave me that feel running around the more developed island, and I like the vibe. I know that sounds insane, but honestly, you know, I'm taking the good things I can from this game because I really did enjoy it to a point. But I think, I don't know, which one of you wants to start in on what you actually do in this game, because I think that's everyone's bitch.
I think just before we move on from that, I do think that it's got a good positive vibe. This is it's kind of a happy, enjoyable place to be in. I'll give it that.
Mm-hmm. you really enjoyed that guy, the white dude with the sunglasses. The
Oh yeah, the guy that was growing weed on his dock. Yeah, that guy was having a good time.
Yeah, he sure was.
If we want to just get the positives out of the way, I also did like how when you transform into a bird, you have a dedicated poop button, and you can actually see the poop come out the butthole, which I thought was pretty good.
Rated E10, everybody. Steve is not amused at all.
I'm not amused. And let's start on that possession mechanic for me, because you use the eyeball of plot conveyance to possess things, a la Super Mario Odyssey. You know, if it was terrible. And other than being able to fly sometimes, as you just described, or being able to swim sometimes, it's really just moving about the same speed you were, but in a new body. Like, you can move around in a rock with no concern for physics at all. Like, it might as well be made out of styrofoam. And forget okay, and we'll go back to the bird thing. Like, pooping should be fun. Like, I should be able to have an adaptive, it should be like adaptive trigger time for the poops. Like, you squeeze a little bit for a short poop, or you squeeze real hard for a big nasty turd, and I should be able to drop it on people passing by, and they should be annoyed. But there's none of that. So why bother?
This game does have pretty good DualSense support. You felt those string plugins when you're playing the guitar, right? That was pretty good. You got to admit. As Kevin shakes his head,
the music playing segments, I really need to just wait until I have the floor.
Okay.
Well, I memean, speaking of things that didn't really matter, like, let's talk about, going around from place to place. And to me, that's really illustrated, like, when you just by basic bitch walking, there's no audible difference between walking on grass or on sand or on wood or on concrete. And I'm not saying Tchia needs to get splinters and change her shoes whenever she changes locales, but something, literally anything for immersion, like that tells me I'm in New Caledonia, the place that the game needed to give me a literal travel brochure for at the beginning of the game. We're supposed to be going on this journey to a real but fantastical version of a place, and I feel like I could have just stayed home, and I did, but I could have really just stayed home and downloaded something else.
Okay, Kevin, complain about the guitar that you can just press L3 and not do if you don't want to.
Yeah, so okay, I want to start with the ukulele and just these like general music segments, because my problems here kind of like embody my problems with this game. So you can just skip those music segments. And if they want to make a game where you just don't have to do it because there's an audience for that, that's fine. That doesn't bother me. I'm not necessarily that audience, but I don't find that offensive. However, if you are electing to play the notes on the guitar or the ukulele or whatever, give me some fucking feedback if I'm hitting those notes. I couldn't even tell. There's no like pop. There's no like glow. It's just kind of like it's almost like they wanted it to be so easy that they didn't want to like offend you if you weren't hitting the notes, which I mean, that's very much not for me. If they were at least giving me feedback saying, okay, you want to like spend your time trying to like play this like rhythm direction game, then let me know if I'm doing it right. And that concept does kind of bleed. And so general traversal, again, I'm not looking for an insane amount of challenge. Usually I don't need challenge whatsoever necessarily, but I need something to like interact with or some sort of obstacle. And so I spent so much fucking time running around these islands, and I spent a lot of time thinking about Skyrim. When you play Skyrim or Fallout, a lot of these open world games, you can use traversal as a way to have your own fun and tell your own stories. And none of that was happening here at all. It was just like walk through the swampy area and walk up this giant mountain. You can't fucking tell where you are because in their mind, like it's a fun mechanic for you to go on the map and just have like a broad sense of where you are. Like you need to orienteer yourself every single time you want to like figure out where you're trying to get to something. I mean, the traversal itself, too, I spent so much of that time looking for the birds, because the bird flying definitely is faster than walking. If you wanted to make this game good, increase the spawn rate of the birds by 800 or 900%, or give Tchia a fucking dirt bike. If they gave Tchia a dirt bike, this would have been a pretty good game.
That would have been kind of badass, actually.
Yeah, I would have had fun if I could have just zoomed around and got to the shit I was trying to find, rather than spending 5 minutes being bored walking in a line.
They give Tchia the Diku leaf, but not the Hylian cycle.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you on the map stuff, though. I thought that was fun. I think it's cool when you have to be active with a map instead of just like, here I am, here's where I need to be. And there's nothing wrong with that too. But when a game requires you to do like more mapping, if you will, and be aware of your surroundings, I think that's good. And especially in a game like this, where there isn't a whole fuck of a lot going on, to be honest.
See, I can see the idea behind that. And I could probably agree with it if it was fun interacting with that world in general. But when it's just like walk, like you can use the compass to see the direction of the, like wherever you're trying to go. But if you are trying to figure out where you are, there's really nothing to do in the in-between time. There's no like interaction with the world and then figuring out where you are. I
Kevin, you didn't like ripping off ribbons from posts?
I did not like ripping off the ribbons from the posts, or trying to find the clay in the swamp, or you know what? Okay, here's when you have to find the chicken egg, at least you have to use your brain enough to turn into a chicken and then hit a button to lay the egg. The egg is not just laying there. So thank you, gameplay element. I appreciate you. The thing that like really bothered me the most about this game is I felt like the team that was making it was very competent, and I don't think there was any poor execution here. I just think it was fundamentally poor design, and I don't think there's a target audience for what they're trying to do with that. But I almost would have been more forgiving if I would have been like, they tried something, it didn't work, the team is, doesn't have enough experience to execute it, but that wasn't the case. I feel like that team could have made a very good game with the same amount of resources with some better decision making.
I'll go one further than that. I do think they got there but they did have, I do think this was almost there. I was really honestly enjoying myself up into a point, of which we'll talk about in a second, Steve. I usually call these things anti-game, but that's not really what I want to say. I almost was thinking of Tchia as something like Animal Crossing, where it's more like a vibe than a game, because they're not really, like you said, they're not requiring you to do a whole fuck of a lot. You play these little songs with people that you meet, and by the way, the music in this game is stupendous. Not just the songs that you play with people that have lyrics and stuff. I thought that was clever. When you get out there and start sailing and it starts playing them reggae tunes, excellent stuff. That was great. Clouds and everything sailing. It looked, and I really do like the look of this game. All that stuff came together for me in a way that was like, wow. So I think, Kevin, if they had, obviously they were onto something, right? With moments like that, they knew they had an audio visual element here that was good. It just didn't, the gameplay just wasn't there for it. Right. But I think they're a little more talented than you probably.
I think they're quite talented. I really do. Who do you think the target audience for this is? Because like something like people would call a walking simulator, right? Like Firewatch. I really like Firewatch. I can see why some people wouldn't enjoy that, but I can see what that target audience is. I don't know who they are trying to get to play this game, because if I think about like a young kid who doesn't want challenge, I still don't think that they're going to get a lot out of this game as far as like enjoyment in an interaction sense.
Maybe not, but they also, as we said with the, if you don't want to play the songs, you don't have to. If you don't want to play the game, you don't have to. You can press options at any time and choose skip gameplay.
Andre.
This is That is
if
the
I wanted to
worst
listen
thing
to the
like,
notes they weren't playing, I would have stayed home.
If I wanted to see a fucking nice beach and some like bouncing tunes, I'd put in a fucking Moana DVD. I'm sorry.
No, I'm not saying that's an excuse for the game. I'm just saying I think they expected for like people to get stuck or not want to do everything, or I don't know how to find this. Like, let's say they didn't figure out the chicken and the egg thing, right? You can just press skip gameplay segment. So I do think they were thinking about kids and stuff like that, or people who don't play games.
I absolutely will agree with you that a very positive aspect of this game is that you don't have to play it.
Oh my God.
Listen, Andre, I'm about the more of an experience than a game thing. A few months ago, I did play Frenza Ringo Ishikawa, and that's very much more experience than game. You're done with it in like a few hours or a night or two. I mean, but listen, it's more tightly designed. It's more clear what's going on. The game elements are more spelled out. Here, you just it's doing all sorts of weird game shit, and none of them very well. Like the battle, what's going on with the fighting thing? Oh, we possess a lump of coal, and we hope it ignites on an enemy, and none of it matters because it all plays like Goat Simulator, not Fun Edition anyway.
Yeah, see, well, you just hit upon the reason why the game ultimately sucks, right? It's the combat. But if they made you just do that every once in a while, fine. And most of the segments you can just skip, not skip gameplay in the options, but just literally just don't do it until, Steve, you get to those factories you got to take pictures of. That's what made me quit the game. Because then all of a sudden Tchia decides to be like fake Metal Gear Solid. And it's like, you better take pictures of these 3 smokestacks in this factory. And there's 3 factories. So there's 9 smokestacks. And you better stuff them up with coal. And you better like figure out how to get away from the 20,000 like ribbon enemies that are there. And it's just like, this isn't fun at all.
And they're far away as fuck from each other. And as we've established earlier, there is nothing to do in between place to place other than rip ribbons from poles and poorly fight ribbon enemies.
And as I've established, as opposed to you two, I didn't mind that. I liked spelunking around this game. And even I couldn't deal with when they tried to introduce like actual gameplay to you. That's what I was just, and look, I'll admit it. I was like, okay, maybe this part of the game sucks. I chose skip segment a few times. No, that's not going to work. I would have had to chose it like 50 times because this part is so long. It probably encompasses the rest of the game, Steve. So, like, I mean...
Oh, no, at this point, I just, like... You know what? I'm just going to assume Tchia takes pictures of everything, saves New Caledonia, and no one ever abuses its natural resources ever again. The end.
Yeah, basically what I did. So, it's just like, I'm out. It's unfortunate, because I would have... If it wasn't for that part of the game... I probably would have beat this game and said, like, you guys are crazy. I get why you don't like it. I get why anyone wouldn't like it. But it worked for me because it did work for me up to that point, and then it stopped completely.
Did you at least find like some of the fetch quest type stuff? You're gonna go find 3 pearls and 4 dog poops or whatever. Did you not find like some of the traveling for that a bit tedious?
I really didn't. I swear to God, I didn't. I really liked spelunking around this world. I did.
I would have liked it more if any of it was fun to do, if any of it felt fun to do, like I went over earlier.
Yeah. So it's just a Tchia missed opportunity. I liked it more than you guys, but I still ultimately did not like it.
I needed to be known that I really wanted to play this on the show. Like for weeks, I was like, so we're going to do Tchia soon, right? This looks pretty fun. I'm sorry. This is my fault.
I'm not sorry. I enjoyed up until the point where I didn't enjoy this game. I mean, I don't know. If this company ever makes another game, I'll definitely look forward to it. I think they could definitely improve upon this. Don't you think, Kevin?
I think it would be great to see what this developer puts out next.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah. So okay, we're gonna take a break. We'll be back with Street Fighter 6 BRB. Okay, we're back. And before we talk about the Street Fighter 6 presentation and demo, I want to show Kevin something. So, I ordered in preparation for Street Fighter 6. As you know, I really cannot stand. I was a joystick person playing fighting games at the arcade, and converting to controller has been hard for me over the years. I've mostly converted, but the only thing I really cannot do is do attacks with like using the triggers. I can't do it. I need face buttons. That's why I loved, I think I spent the entire summer of 96 at a friend's house because he had a Saturn playing Street Fighter Alpha over there because the Saturn had 6 face buttons, right? Anyway, so I decided to get such a controller for my PS5, Kevin, but look what this is.
Whoa.
Yeah, I got an Xbox One here in the mail today, and that does not help me at all. So, oops. Don't know. I mean, I opened it up and I was just like, fuck!
You didn't see the big green Xbox circle on the front?
I did, but that's why I yelled fuck. I just...
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought you meant you dug into the box and then came to a sudden realization.
No. So now I gotta trek to a store and send that back. Anyway, let's just talk about the presentation real quick, because I remember when it was announced, it's like the official Twitter account was like, Lil Wayne is going to bring you 30 minutes of Street Fighter 6 or whatever. But Steve, I think he was there for 45 seconds total.
You know what? That's about right? I mean, he probably didn't even get paid that much if they only got him for 45 seconds. They were like, hey, you want to say something nice about Street Fighter 6?
Sure. I'm in LA next week. Yeah, whatever.
There's a sixth one? Okay.
Yep. He was a good host, though. He sounded genuinely excited about Street Fighter, even whether he was or wasn't. Who knows? But he played the part. How much, what did you think about this? I mean, we saw a lot of World Tour mode, Battle Hub. You got any big takeaways here?
Look, you already had me sold on Street Fighter 6. I know you're more wishy-washy, but you were always going to more or less have me sold as long as you weren't going to put out a Sonic Origins chart of price plans and things, so of things to do for just to play the game as it should be. So
it is a fighting game by Capcom in the year of our Lord 2023. I mean, we know how out of control fighting game DLC has gotten. And we know how Street Fighter V went, one of the biggest scams that nobody really talks about because Street Fighter. But you want to talk about scummy DLC and unethical practices? Street Fighter V is it. So I wasn't going to just jump in.
I mean, I wasn't necessarily going to either, but I also figured they learned from that and they can only go up. I'd say they did, but it was the bar was so low in the first place. So,
okay, but that doesn't mean that I want to here's year 7 of more characters for the game that you've been sick of for 5 years. I don't understand the fighting game model nowadays. I don't want to play the same thing for that long. Maybe people do now. I'm the odd one out. But whatever. Year 1 DLC, though, I didn't really think they'd reveal that during this. But our 4 characters, what'd you think?
I aside from 2, and I play more Street Fighter 2 than anything else. I've been in and out the rest of the time more, really. So I kind of feel like it's kind of scummy to see characters that we've had all along, and especially Akuma be a DLC character.
And not for a year, baby. That's not coming for a whole year.
I'm like, okay, I guess we'll just cope.
Rashid is from Street Fighter V. I know that much. So whatever. Aki and Ed appear to be new people. Aki, though, isn't there a person in Capcom history named Aki Man, or right? Some
that
sort of producer?
Right, but I should have looked this up.
No, I'm just saying, I just thought of it myself. I thought
I didn't make that connection till just now, but
yeah, I wonder if that's a nod to that or whatever. But let's talk about some things that you can do in the demo. Obviously, the thing is that you can go through like a tiny sliver of World Tour mode, because I thought it was funny. They're saying, well, you can't save when you're in World Tour mode. I'm like, well, why not? Because I'm like, okay, because it lasts like 20 minutes. That's why. You never did show me. Oh, no, you did. You did show me the monstrosity you made.
I was very weird. I was very cautious of World Tour mode, because I was, even when they first showed this a little while ago, I'm like, I don't know, guys. I think I'm just going to stick to classic mode and playing fights online with my friends. I don't think I'm going to make a Street Fighter OC Do Not Steal. I just don't think I have that in me. But here I am for a podcast, sitting through the thing, making a fat-ass representation of myself, complete with beard and pale bald head. And like, you know what? This isn't that bad, I guess. But
so you went for you. To make you yourself.
Yeah, I tried. An attempt was made.
And first, and don't act like you did this for us. You know you're going to play World Tour. What are you going to, would you fucking get hella MLG online and do crazy custom Ryu level 3 combos? Like, you're not...
Okay, we all know I'm not good enough for that, but we all also know that, again, I liked it more when I was playing it. I thought it was, ridiculous as hell going through Final Fight City. They're just walking up to random guys. Hey, let's fight. And then pummeling the shit out of them. Although I didn't like. Okay, I know you all like the new modern controls, and I
didn't say I liked it.
I'm not going to say, oh, modern controls are for babies, blah, blah, blah. Us professional game players need classic controls. But I will say that I was offended by, you have to use the modern controls in this demo for this specific portion of the game. That I was offended by, especially when I can just go to the side and do my Ryu Luke matches with 6-button controls as nature intended.
I thought it was inexplicable that Capcom had resolution mode on, which means 30 frames a second while you're fighting only. Everything else in this game is a silky smooth 60, but then you start fighting and it turns to like 30 with bad frame pacing, which is something like RE Engine doesn't usually do, but it does in this. It felt awful. I have no idea why that's even an option in this game. Why would you ever want to play a fighting game at 30, like this, at 30 frames a second? That's insane.
Some inside baseball for everyone at home. Andre was quicker to this than everyone else was, and he was very fast to tell us that, hey, go to the options before you start and turn that shit off, because they don't let you once you get started, unless you start the whole thing all over again. So I was very thankful to find that in my messages. Very incredibly thankful to find that in my messages, because as much of a frame snob as I'm not, I couldn't imagine playing Street Fighter at 30 frames on the PlayStation 5.
That shit, but imagine everything else is silky smooth, and then you cut to battle. I thought I was having a RAM leak or something like that. Like I had the game on too long while making my character. My 60-year-old vaguely Pacific Islander Asian man that I decided to make as a character.
Carno's cousin.
Yeah, I have no idea. Like I just thought I spent too long there, and the game was wigging out. Like an old PC. It was wild. I had no idea. Anyway, yeah, this sold me. I'm here. Like we were talking up earlier. I have been a skeptic of Capcom fighting games for a long time, and rightfully so. I have every reason to feel that way. And I'm here. I'm 100% here for this. I'll be playing World Tour. Did you like that floor in the World Tour or Metro City Square or something? It had like every Capcom. I mean, it said like Tech Romancer on there.
Yeah,
it Plasma Sword. It said Final Fight Revenge, which nobody should remember.
I thought the floor was wild, although I'm not entirely sure why Final Fight Revenge was there. I think, no one was going to notice one way or another if you left that one out.
I would never remember that existed. I don't remember what that was for. Saturn? Is that an arcade game? I don't remember. I swear to God, I don't.
That wasn't the PS2 game that everyone hates?
No, I think that's a totally different game.
Because I know there was bad ones on Saturn too, where there was a fighting game. Is that the Final Fight fighting game?
I don't know. You would think I would remember something like that, but I don't. Kevin, I guess you played this demo briefly.
I did the tutorial where you can choose which controls you use. I voluntarily decided to do the modern controls, and then I think I did 3 fights. And then I had something else I had to do.
Okay.
And it was a fighting game. I called Tekken 8 Tekken 6 last show. You knew what you were in for.
Oh my God. Can we talk about something else, Steve?
Yeah, guys, Sega's looking to buy Rovio, the Angry Birds people, for $776 million. Did you guys think that they'd be saleable for that much? Or that they were on sale?
I honestly, the number doesn't surprise me. 776 million. I know everyone was like, what, the Angry Birds company? Who gives a shit about that? I think that's still a marketing force. I mean, they made 2 Angry Birds movies. I don't think that was by accident. And they made money, right? Like, I still think that's a viable franchise. Am I crazy to think that?
I don't think Angry Birds really has any popularity. There was the movies, and that seemed like kind of a flash in the pan thing to me. I think if there's perceived value to the Angry Birds franchise itself, maybe they can reinvent that and do something, kind of the Plants vs. Zombies garden warfare thing. But I don't think that this was about the Angry Birds franchise.
Then what?
To me, I think this was kind of similar to Nintendo and DNA. Maybe we're going to see Sonic Mania Run or something. I think this was more about Sega bulking up, what they can do on mobile. They have been putting out like Genesis ports for years and years. Maybe this is just more of Sega expanding into mobile, not looking at Angry Birds.
I mean, it would almost have to be that, because when I was doing some research into what they did before the Angry Birds times, they did some work for hire that, very much just stayed within whoever owned the IP. But then you look at the rest of the resume, it's almost all Angry Birds the entire time. There's like maybe 1 or 2 other mobile games that didn't catch on in the middle of Angry Birds this and Angry Birds that. So I don't know, but I also know that they still making the Angry Birds, and it's got this free to play model, and maybe that's what's going on. Maybe that's how it's still profitable. Like, you got a bunch of kids playing it for free, but it's bloated with ads, and I don't know. Maybe they're using the same metric that told Microsoft that everyone's playing Sea of Thieves. Bring it into Season 8.
They don't care if anyone's playing Sea of Thieves. Season Thieves.
Season Thieves.
They need that product to exist to make it look good. But anyway, okay, 2 things. First of all, am I having a complete hallucination, or was there an Angry Birds Star Wars?
Oh, there was.
There was 2, but yes.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm glad I wasn't making that up. Number 2, I like Angry Birds. Well, when it came out anyway, it was. I mean, when it wasn't really like the thing it was now. I don't know, just some fun little thing to play on your iPhone. I like I feel like that kind of casual market is still a thing, and it can still be a thing on consoles. I think. Like, if they made a Angry Birds right now on like PS5 and shit, you don't think like people would buy that? I mean, I feel like they would, like some budget game.
How would it be a budget game though? Because the problem that they ran into around a decade ago was they were trying to sell you the $1 iPhone game for $30 to $40 to play on your television with noticeably worse controls.
I mean, can't just slide your thumb on the touchpad and just kind of fling a Angry Bird here and there?
But would that be the game they make? I mean, I agree. Yes, that's what they should do. But
I don't know.
They do it again,
I think to make it viable, they would have to say this is a standalone product, not requiring $1.99 every time you run out of 5 lives or whatever.
or whatever. It's just yeah, because that's like the hook, right? I mean, I guess you paid like $30 now, but like, where's the incentive to do well at the game besides like, oh man, I have to wait like 4 hours to get another Angry Bird star or something like that to like try again? I guess it's just the premium price of the game if you want to consider like $30 premium or whatever if it's on a console. But I don't know. I don't think Angry Birds is over. If it popped up in the next year and it was pretty popular, I would not be surprised. So anyway, real quick, I guess we would be remiss if we didn't mention that this morning, very early this morning, the UK, I don't know what board it is, the competitive something or other board, blocked the Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard. So, I mean, LOL, I guess. I don't really know what else to say about that, but
I found it weird that they chose to block it on the grounds of harming cloud gaming and not for anything else.
Do you guys think that's going to stick, though? Because I'm sure Microsoft is going to appeal it, and I would imagine they're going to be successful. I have a hard time seeing this actually getting successfully blocked.
Yeah, I just don't see. I mean, this is going to happen. Like whether they actually successfully acquire them or not, all these exclusivity, whatever they want with Activision Blizzard is going to happen anyway.
Yes, that part will still very much happen no matter how long they keep dragging this out. No matter how much Sony feels like being a little bitch about it all.
Jim Ryan is having a cocaine party in his office right now with his two favorite office hoes, right?
And Kevin is laughing.
He's doing cocaine and you're laughing. What, did you get an invite you couldn't take or something? Or I mean, would you?
Now I just feel bad.
Okay. Don't feel bad for Jim Ryan. He'll get fired soon. Anyway, another quickie here, as reported by Jason Schreier, a couple months ago now, I think. It's now official. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League has been delayed till February 24th, 2024. Holy shit. I said at the time that this would be catastrophic for the game because it'll lead people to believe that they're quote unquote fixing the game to their liking when that's just not what's going to happen. It's going to be the same thing that it always was, right? In my opinion. What do you guys think this? I don't know, Kevin. Do you think this development time might buy him anything except just it? I mean, I don't get it. You may as well just release it the way it was.
I'm kind of surprised after seeing the heavy focus at the State of Play that it did get delayed, because I would have thought with that much focus at State of Play, they would have been relatively confident they were far enough along with it.
Yeah.
Well, you know what happened? They were looking at the metrics and they're like, there's this guy in Canada who keeps hitting the skip 10 seconds button. This cannot stand.
Canada is skipping out on this segment. We have to do something, guys.
But, honestly, let's, like you just said, Andre, for real, there's nothing's going to change, not in a way that the complainers want. And even the ones that do want the game, like you were kind of interested in the game. Are you going to be interested in February?
Yeah. Well, I mean, why would I be any less interested now than I was, or then than I am right? Why would I be any less interested? What the fuck am I saying? I feel like I'm having a stroke on the air. I'm leaving this in. I don't know. Yes, my interest level is the same.
There's not going to be other similarly structured games. Welcome to episode 32 of the Find Time to Have a Stroke podcast.
This is a complete mess. This is a complete fucking mess.
Leave all of this in.
This is the worst. Oh my god.
As sorry. I was trying to say, there's no way that you're not going to be interested in a similarly structured game by the time this arrives.
Oh my god. I don't know what else is coming down the pipeline, like fucking Redfall or something, which I can't play, or like I don't even know.
Your laptop can't run Redfall. I feel like my laptop might be able to run Redfall at
Yeah,
30.
look at it. Like, I mean, holy shit. Well, actually, since I think we should talk about this real quick before we get to the indie cat world. Just speaking of things I wanted to run on my laptop, I've been debating for months whether to try, or weeks now, I guess, whether to try Hi-Fi Rush or not, because I don't know if my laptop can run it. But speaking of that, Jeff Grubb did a little dishing on his podcast, and he said that Microsoft was disappointed in whatever Hi-Fi Rush did. Basically, his wording was, it didn't do what they wanted it to do. Now, he was quick to add that he doesn't have any more details in that, so he doesn't know what the expectations were, if they were too high, et cetera, et cetera. But guys, I think we talk a lot on the show about like Game Pass cannibalizing sales and shit like that. But here's what I want to chew on, and you can talk about the Game Pass element if you guys want. But here's my main question to you. Let's start with Kevin. Would Hi-Fi Rush had done any better if it wasn't shadow dropped? If it didn't have the tradition, if it had the traditional hype cycle, would it have done any better than it already had instead of just making that big splash?
In hindsight, I don't think so, because and this is maybe fairly Twitter centric, but on Twitter that day, that game was all the rage. Everybody was talking about it, whether they were Xbox fans or not. So I felt like it got quite a bit of traction just being shadow dropped. We have milked the Game Pass cannibalizing sales cow to be quite skinny these days, I think. But I think that's what's happening here, and I also think for a game like that, the crossover between the audience that would be interested in subscribing to Game Pass and would be interested in this game, I think there's quite a bit of crossover. I think this is like a game that's for Xbox fans, or just more dedicated gamers that would be interested in subscribing to Game Pass. So I can imagine that probably hit it worse than something that would maybe have broader appeal.
I think I completely agree with that, Steve.
So I'm going to be the jackass that answers your question with a question and ask, what metric are they using to decide if a game is successful in Xbox country these days? Because if everything's going to be a day one release on Game Pass, that's how I'd be getting it. And I'm sure that's how Kevin decides what he'd be uploading. So are they measuring, did it sell in the traditional sense, or did this not get enough downloads?
It's tough, right? Because it could be a combination of both. They could just go by, what do you call it? Just engagement, if you will, too. Because I think that's what drives some of these companies to make decisions as well. Like, they see how much people engage with certain games online, and they decide, like Capcom, I think in the Xbox 360 days, when they put out a port of, I don't know, like I think like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 came to Xbox Live, right? And I think like that a lot of people kept playing that. They saw how many people were playing it, and that decided to make him do like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure port, or like other ports, right? Like they look at that kind of stuff. So maybe Microsoft was looking at like how many people are playing it on Game Pass, how many people beat the game, or how many, all those kind of metrics. Maybe that matters to them. I don't fucking know, man. But
because like Kevin just said, everyone was talking about Hi-Fi Rush. We were talking about Hi-Fi Rush amongst ourselves. It sounded like a pretty good success for Microsoft, the land of no exclusives this year.
I do think if they're not looking at Game Pass downloads, they definitely should be, because something like that is what incentivizes people to keep paying for Game Pass. And despite what we've thought, they have come out and said multiple times, Game Pass is definitely making us money. So I don't know, again, if they were just selling these games individually and Game Pass wasn't a thing, what that ratio looks like. But they should be taking that into account if they're not.
They should. I don't think they have the right to have any expectations when you're just giving away the store. There should be no expectations. That's just how I feel. I don't understand what they're looking at here, but maybe we will sometime. You guys want to go through what Steve dubbed the indie cat world real quick, because there was a lot of cats and there was a lot of indie. I guess we could just hit upon some stuff we liked or didn't like real quick.
To be fair, I think Kevin finally came up with the name, but I did point out the catitude after my first viewing.
Well, I am taking a shot every time a game with the cat comes up during the segment, so I'm going to be fucking dead before we get to the break.
Well,
Okay.
You got to get started right from the get-go, because they started right away with Mineko Night Market, which was a fun vibe, but after the last time, like, really? You guys are going to start with a cat game?
I thought you guys were joking about the cat stuff, and then till I saw this, I started, because I'm the one who watched it last, and I was like, oh shit, they're just really going right into this. Like with the embossed cat on the book, right? And it opens up to tell us about the cat god and the cat village, where you can have cat festivals and do cat races. Like you're literally riding on top of the cat. I mean, like, yeah, I don't know. Looks fine enough, I guess. Fun chill out cat game.
Yeah, Rift of the Necrodancer I thought looked really good. I really liked the aesthetic, and the rhythm gameplay looked really dynamic. You could see all of the enemies kind of like moving around in different patterns. So this isn't like controller supported Guitar Hero, clone at all. So yeah, that one was definitely on my radar. In addition to Animal Well, have you guys paid attention to that one? I really like the art style on that one.
It looks cool. Had you heard of this before? Or was this like a reveal?
I'd seen that. I thought they had this on a different show earlier. I've definitely seen this online before.
Okay. I didn't recognize it.
Brushed me right by. That was the first time I saw it too, but it looks fine enough. Although I was more impressed by Tesla Grad 2 and Tesla Grad Remastered, and they're both out now. I
have a vague memory of playing Tesla Grad on something. Maybe it was like a PlayStation 4, like early, like PS Plus thing or something like that. I swear I've played this before.
Oh, I'm sure they gave it away on one of those back in the time. I mean, I played it on Wii U. If it was on Wii U,
man. Maybe I played it on Vita. Oh, maybe I played it on Vita. Maybe that's it. That would have been Vita time.
You may well have. Although I was equally impressed with Shadows Over Loathing, although I think I might have been the only one to play the game before that one. West of Loathing was a minimalist art style to be generous RPG with a lot of goofy dialogue and timed actions, and it's indie Paper Mario kind of, but with a Western theme. It's a lot of fun. It's over in not a couple hours, but you gotta turn over all them fun nooks and crannies and things if you really want to get the most out of it. You don't want to just run from one side of the West to the other. That's no fun. We're not in a hurry, are we? I mean, I know Kevin usually is. He's like, Steve, do you think I could finish it before Wednesday? I'm like, probably not, Kevin. It's 2 a.m. Tuesday night.
Not usually in a rush. I just thought maybe for posterity.
You gotta game like that. You gotta romance first, Kevin.
Yeah, you gotta treat it like a woman, like he says about every game now.
My confidence in my sexual prowess is at 50% of what it was before we started tonight.
I saw Blasphemous 2. I didn't know there was a sequel. I don't know if they just revealed it here on purpose, but everyone says these are like Souls-like, but I'm like, this just looks like a Castlevania game to me. I don't know what's very Soulsy about it, unless it's just a thing we say now.
There's a bit of truth to it. I didn't play Blasphemous 1, but I've played other games similar to this where you have to deliberately you're doing more fighting than platforming and exploration, so you can't even say the other dreaded thing we don't like to say around here. You have very specific commands for your light attack and your heavy attack and your block and whatever else, and you better do that shit all correct all the time, and otherwise you're going to lose all your health in one shot, and that's why everyone's calling them Souls likes. And Everyone swears by Blasphemous, but I've been too scared to touch Blasphemous because I've had bad experiences with other games. Thank you, Salt and Sanctuary, where they just hand you the entire textbook and say, good fucking luck, asshole. But I've been playing this other one that I'll probably talk about next show that's made a better impression on me, so maybe I'll join Blasphemous Town soon. We'll see.
There's no way you are going to get on these airwaves and talk about an indie game. That's impossible. It's never going to happen.
Me? You talk about an indie game? It's more likely than you think. Anyway.
Oh man. There was a bunch of stuff in the sizzle reel, but the two things that caught my eye were Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. One, just because I saw a comparison video, and it runs like ass on Switch, like single digits frame rates. It was crazy how bad it ran. I don't know what happened. Maybe people who play those games don't give a shit, but like, my lord. And then the more interesting thing was Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, August, I forget, sometime in August for Switch. I don't know if that means it's only coming to Switch in August, because they hadn't really announced any platforms for that thing. If anyone doesn't know, that's like the Jet Set Radio ripoff thing that they've been doing. Hideki Naganuma is even doing music for it and everything. I don't know how much, but he's involved. Point is, I think you guys know me well enough. I'm not playing that shit on Switch. I'll tell you that much. I'll wait for whatever it comes to, but no, I don't want to experience whatever that experience is.
Didn't Bomb Rush Cyberpunk appear in a thing before?
Yeah.
Have its own segment?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm not hallucinating.
No,
Good.
They just hadn't announced a release date till now, but hopefully that means other systems too. But yeah, I don't know. I guess that's about it. Yeah, there was a lot of cats. I mean, should we just go through them all? There was like quilts and cats of calico. Remember that one? Like the Catan cat game or whatever.
It's a real ass game. That'll be fun. I love that we're still doing this in 2023. Board games and video games. I mean, I guess if you have an online mode, okay, but
I don't think that's a big. I think that's fine. But although there was also something called Little Kitty Big City, which sounds like the kind of game you would make when you think of the name first. Someone thought of the name Little Kitty Big City, right, Kevin? That's what happened.
Come the fuck on. It was already comical before we got to Little Kitty Big City. Like,
to be fair,
you've got to be fucking kidding me.
To be fair to this game, they put out a trailer after the direct, a real trailer, not just the sizzle reel, and it doesn't look bad.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't look like
it actually looks pretty okay.
No, it doesn't look like the worst. I just can't. Little Kitty Big City. I mean, considering all the cat that was happening to us at that time, and then we saw that, and it's like, oh my, you gotta be fucking, come on. This is a joke, right? Like it was like the direct with all the farming games, wasn't it? Like
yeah, and then I guess the fucking indie world people played Stray since then, and they had the same thing going on.
I guess that was not my problem. I guess this was a very okay direct for me. Like, first off, they closed with a release date for Oxenfree 2. Hooray for me, see you in Spoopy month at one and all. But no one last thing before we go. We used to be a society, people.
Yeah, isn't that how they announced like a Cuphead DLC or something, and like some other important stuff before?
A lot of stuff got announced that way.
Yeah.
I'm still. I know you guys are gonna hate me for this. I'm still looking at I'm still waiting for Silk Song every time one of these comes out, and it bums me out every time it doesn't happen because I know that Microsoft put it on their show last year, but I really feel like in indie world is like that's where everybody wants to see it.
Oh,
that's where they're going to put it eventually.
It has 1 month before the year before everything in this conference is coming out within the year.
That was June, wasn't it? Was that May?
2 more months. But,
yeah,
we're almost to May.
Okay, don't break my heart, Jesus.
Oh man. Okay.
Okay. I'm sorry, but they also made a Little to the Left DLC. Come on, Andre. What the hell, Andre? Did you will this upon us?
Why are you saying this to me? I haven't even played the goddamn game. You know what? No. Can I promise that next week? No, because there's Jedi. I want to talk about R-Type Final 3 Evolved. Shit. Can I talk about that next week? You know what? Fuck it. I will talk about it. No, fuck this. I'm gonna play a little to the left. Maybe I'll play the DLC. I don't know if it's out yet or not.
It's probably not going to take you that long to organize those drawers.
Oh my god. I'm gonna put you assholes in your place once and for all. I don't even care if I hate that game. I need to pretend I like it now.
How could that be? You're the guy that likes Castlevania the Adventure.
It's great. Fuck off. How dare you? You know what? I need a break. I need a break from you. Okay? I'll be right back. You sit right here. I'll be right back, everybody. I am back. I am refreshed. And as promised to the people, because we keep our promises here on Fine Time, we are going to play JAV Titles, Real or Fake.
Do you have some real sexy music to play right now?
Yeah. Let me put some on. Here we go. Okay. Here.
Oh, yeah.
This is hot.
Keep your pants on, boys. We got some JAV titles to go. So just in case anyone hasn't heard this, because it's been a while since we've done this, JAV stands for Japan Adult Video. And our favorite Twitter account, jav.text, compiles these, and it's just the best bot on Twitter. Don't you ever get rid of this bot, Elon Musk.
Wasn't there a 3-month period where it was gone? And we were all very sad.
Yeah, it was like about this time last year. It got suspended for like 3-4 months, and then it came back all of a sudden. It was shortly before we played our first game of JV Titles, Real or Fake. Anyway, yeah, I'm sure you can guess from here. It's a bunch of porn titles, and some of them I made up, and the guys are gonna guess which, hopefully. And okay, here we go. Here's our first one. I hate when I do this. I'm laughing before I even read it. It's so stupid. Okay. In a world where men are scarce, it's a battle for all the remaining cocks. Real or fake?
My gut says real.
Real?
Yeah, I'm going to say real.
All right, guys, that's real. All right, you got the first one. All right. How about this? The most well-endowed abusive husband in Japan and the wife who gets fucked by him.
Whoa!
Real or fake?
I want to say fake, but is that a little sassy for him to be making up for the show even? I don't know.
This is real.
This is real?
I think this is fake.
Okay, it's real, Kevin. So, yeah, that's a real one.
What's the rating on that bad boy?
Oh, I don't even know.
5 dicks up.
Okay, how about this one? Lusty pussies. These perverted pussy lips are flapping towards you. Real or fake?
What are we doing here? My mom would not be proud if she heard this.
Oh, this one's fake.
Fake? Okay.
I'm fake too.
It's real. That's real.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, such a personal touch. It's flapping towards us.
Yeah, flapping towards you, Steve. That's why that makes you want to buy it. It's flapping towards you. And
How
you.
inviting.
And you. Okay. How about this?
And Kevin and Andre.
Don't you see them at night, them flapping towards you? And you
Just like flapping through your window there.
All right. How about this? Try as you might, his cock just won't fit. If women can get breast reductions, men can get penis reductions. Real or fake?
That's fake.
That's fake?
That's fake.
Okay.
Real.
Real? It's fake. I made that one up. I feel like Fact or Fiction. What was that show? It's we made it up. What was that? You know, he tells you if it's fake or real after. Yeah, the guy from Star Trek. I don't know about Star Trek, but anyway.
I just feel like penis reductions don't sell big in the porn market.
Hey, you never know. You could have like a fucking 16-incher and be like, damn, I just can't do anything with this.
Well, it's not a surgical penis reduction. It'd be like, oh, if only there was some way we can make it smaller. As she says it, she's just tugging on it for.
That's a different kind of reduction. Okay. Okay. How about this? Her beloved husband is American, the bilingual wife of an interracial couple. Real or fake? I feel like you guys weren't expecting that.
If I said I was expecting any of these, I'd be lying.
Bilingual wife of an interracial couple, Steve.
Sounds real enough.
Okay, real?
I'm really torn on this one. Let's do fake.
Fake? Okay. This is real. This is absolutely real. I pulled it right from the site. Okay, let's do some more here.
Oh, you pulled it already.
Oh, I pulled it. Okay. How about this one? All the nuns here are former porn stars. When you are free of cum, you are free of sin. Real or fake?
While this is very good, I think this is fake.
Fake?
I think this one's real.
This is also fake. I made that shit up.
I'm getting slaughtered tonight.
Okay.
I'm not keeping score today.
We got a few more. Okay, how about this one? Gay anguish in the old Capitol. Real or fake?
That's it?
That's it.
Where's the subtitle?
No, that's it. Gay anguish in the old Capitol.
Well, that sounds like the very real beginning to a franchise that would have subtitles later. I'm saying real.
I'm saying real too.
Yeah, that's real. Gay anguish in the old Capitol. Man, that sounds like
I'm
a good read.
I'm just kind of glad that exists.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would pick up the novelization of that.
Yeah, for sure. That seems like a good read, you know?
It sounds like it's got some depth.
Definitely better than more classier than 50 Shades of Grey or something.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah. Okay, how about a couple more. Areola Airlines. Husband recognizes wife's nipple in airline pamphlet. Passengers are all men who masturbate. Real or fake?
You had me at Areola Airlines.
This is real.
That's real.
I think it's real too, but if this is fake, I truly commend you for making that one up.
Not only is this fake, I had someone make this up for me. I told him about he doesn't listen to the show. I told him to make some up for me because he also likes JAV Titles. We like the same account. So he said, make up some fake ones. And this is one he came up with.
Wow.
So, yeah.
All right. Good job.
Gold star.
Yeah. Let's do one more. Okay. The entire office is in heat. I apologize. I'll call you back as soon as I'm done having sex. Real or fake?
Who doesn't like a good office one? Real.
Real?
I think real too.
That's real. That was real. I saw that yesterday looking for one more for the end. That was it. So yeah. Okay. Good job, everybody. I think. I don't know why I would say good job after these.
Everybody wins.
Yeah, I thought we all profited from that.
Yeah, we sure did. Okay. Oh man, like I said though, if you saw Gay Anguish in the old Capitol at Barnes and Noble or something, because we definitely still go to bookstores, I think you would definitely pick that up.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that was one I hadn't heard of that just like wound up on a like indie Oscar list.
For sure. Okay. Okay, Kevin, we got a random topic here. You haven't told us about it, but lay it on us.
I have got two small random topics. I've got a question for tailor-made for each of you.
Okay.
So, Steve, since you were feeling extra sassy this morning, I thought I'd give you a chance to piss off all of your fans. Do you have most? Of course, you haven't. Yeah, we've been charging all of these people for the Steve fan club every month.
Have you checked your OnlyFans lately? I mean, geez.
I have an OnlyFans. Is that the question?
They're only your fans, not ours.
Yeah. Anyway.
Do you have a Disney movie that you feel like is the most overrated Disney movie?
Oh, that's easy. Tarzan.
Wow. Really?
Is it Phil Collins that did it?
Almost yes, because I don't have a problem with him writing. I don't have a problem with him writing the music. Elton John wrote the music for Lion King. I have a problem with Phil Collins singing all the songs in Tarzan. Like, could you imagine if in Lion King he just broke in with the just want to be king and be prepared in every single song in that movie? That's what Phil Collins does. You're having a good time. We're watching Tarzan swing from vine to vine and everything else, and then all of a sudden, I wanna know, can you show me? I'm like, come on.
Does Tarzan have a real passionate fan base?
I feel like it does, because every time I say, I don't think Tarzan was very good, and then people are like, what are you talking about, Steve?
I like Tarzan, but I'm not going to like go to bat for it. You know what I mean? I'm not going to cape up for Tarzan. Like I understand why people wouldn't like it. So
I do feel like the music in Tarzan is like definitely the one that like sticks out. It's the most off-putting for a Disney movie. Elton John and the Lion King go together like peanut butter and jam.
Yeah. I actually do not like. I shouldn't say I don't like Phil Collins. I dislike Phil Collins's voice. I wish he were part of a duo where like he wrote the songs and someone else sang, like Savage Garden or something. I just wish that were the case, because I just can't stand hearing him. It's just something about the tone of his voice always has driven me crazy. But despite that, I do like Tarzan.
Like if he just wrote the songs and then we only heard him sing something at the end of the movie during the credits, yeah, okay, fine, whatever. But
well, I mean, or just sing like the main theme, like Elton John saying, can you feel the love tonight or whatever, right? Like you don't have to sing like every single song.
I think the one song he doesn't sing is sung by Rosie O'Donnell, and that says everything.
Oh boy. Okay, Kevin, ask me my question.
All right. I wasn't expecting that one to go in a music direction, but of course I do have a music question for you. I'm wondering, first of all, just general thoughts on bands replacing the vocalist, whether it's due to, just them parting ways or a death, and any instances that you can think of where you feel like that worked specifically well or specifically poorly.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, here goes one of my most controversial music takes that there is. I'm a Sammy Hagar Van Halen guy. I like him more than David Lee Roth. I guess that's like the one everyone goes to, right? I like Sammy Hagar more in general. Yeah. So, I don't know how you feel about that, but
I see, I'm not a big Van Halen fan to begin with, but we've talked about this before quite many years ago. I don't know if you remember, and I agreed with you mostly because of the movie Twister.
Oh, you like that song? That's fucking right.
Yeah.
I do. No, I think Sammy Hagar is a better songwriter. Not that, I mean, I understand that Van Halen's a collaborative process, right? And I get the David Lee Roth thing. I really, really do. And those early records have some great riffs and stuff, but just like, I just prefer the Sammy Hagar stuff, and I prefer him as a vocalist. So I just went right to the top with that, right? I'm trying to think of another example, though, of a band doing this that,
So if you want what you think, because I thought of this for a reason. I was just thinking while I was driving the other day, and Alice in Chains came on, and I thought how when William Duvall came in out with Alice in Chains, that was perfect because the new now, okay, so I will say, admittedly, I think because Jerry Cantrell contributes quite a bit to the vocals, they've probably got a leg up as far as like maintaining, that classic sound. But the new stuff, I felt like, he kind of puts his own spin on it, but it still seems true to classic Alice in Chains, and he can also like completely nail the classic shit. I got to see them, I don't know, like 10 or so years ago. It was right after The Devil Put Dinosaurs Here. I got to see them live, and it was exceptional. On the flip side, Sublime with Rome. Did you ever listen to Sublime with Rome when they came out with that?
I did not, actually. I didn't.
See, I didn't like that at all. And I don't know that I necessarily, I give them credit for like changing the name enough to like identify that they're not like just like pimping this out as Sublime. But they definitely really changed the vibe of all of that music for anything new. It was much more like reggae than it was. There was much more of an element of like pop punk, I suppose, in the original Sublime, and even Rome covering original Sublime just didn't do it for me. And again, probably somewhat of a personal taste thing, but it didn't feel true to what I thought Sublime was.
People swear by, and I haven't heard it, people swear by Chester Bennington when he did vocals for Stone Temple Pilots. Like, and I haven't heard it, so I can't comment, but like, I'm not a fan of Linkin Park as it is. So like, I just can't hear it, but maybe someday I'll check that out. People do like it though. And I was shocked to hear it. So I don't know.
I've never heard that either, and I have a hard time envisioning it.
Yeah, me too. So maybe someday I'll actually check that out. But I hadn't heard it. What do you consider, like, now I know like they're different bands and they're different modes, but what do you consider like the super group stuff, like an Audio Slave or something, where it's just, you're basically just replacing like Zach De La Rocha with Chris Cornell or something like that? Like, do you consider that in this category, or no? Is that like a different thing?
No, yeah, I would probably think of that as its own thing.
Okay, so would I, but I just thought I'd mention it. But yeah, honestly, I'm just trying to think of my favorite bands over time, or just any bands that have done this successessly. I feel like AC/DC has done this, but you hate them, so I would probably not talk about that.
Yeah, AC/DC was just never good. Sorry.
There's some, I don't know. There's some AC/DC jams I like. Anyway, but yeah, that's all I got. Sorry for going for the basic bitch answer, but Steve has a topic for us now. Secret topic.
I mean, it's not that. I mean, I guess it's a secret because you're only hearing about it for the first time, but. Guys, am I the only one that feels like Pac-Man's fucking everywhere right now? Like, the other day, Andre sent in pictures of, oh man, I forgot what stadium he's in right now, but where they're doing the kid-friendly version of the Bud Bowl, but it's with Pac-Man.
Yeah, it was at the Angels ballpark in LA, so in Anaheim rather. And but they've been having, I don't know what's been going on there all year. They've been having Bandai Namco signage like everywhere. I don't know if they entered some sort of big sponsorship or whatever, but it's been a thing lately.
I think I remember that, but it's not exclusive to them. 7-Eleven's running a thing right now with the Pac-Man shit that's unrelated to the stuff at the ballpark, and they got all these cool prizes that we're never going to see, like 7-Eleven branded Pac-Man machines and shit.
Have you seen the apparel though? Like the shirts and shit. That shit
yeah,
was crazy.
Just send all that shit in a big crate to my house. I want it all.
Oh my god, that's. I think our friend Manic Socratic linked. I think he was talking about it on Twitter. I was like, "Yo, this shit looks wild."
I wonder if that's a thing in Canada.
It's gotta be. Come on.
I don't know that like the Link's Awakening cups, that was only in Canada. So, and that was 7-Eleven. Maybe they're fragmented.
Yeah. God bless Kevin for sending us those.
I'm drinking out of one right now. I drink out of one almost every show.
And even the other day, I'm watching an ad for pistachios, and Pac-Man's eating pistachios. I'm like, oh, are they going to tell me to go to 7-Eleven? Or go see or is this the official ballpark pistachio because Pac-Man's here? No, they just licensed them out. I'm like, they can't be ramping up for more Pac-Man, right? I mean, they did Pac-Man World Repacked last year, and I think people sort of kind of liked it. But I mean,
Pac-Man and pistachios is a pretty like organic pairing, though.
I think so.
I can see that.
No, I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying it's almost like he's it's almost like he's one of those celebrities that's being more famous for being famous at this stage. Like he's going on tours. Like one day we're going to see him at local conventions signing autographs to kids that have no idea who he is.
Pac-Man is a fucking socialite. Like he's Paris Hilton, but he's like Pac-Man. He's just like famous for being famous.
Daddy, who's Pac-Man? You shut your mouth, son. That is Pac-fucking-Man, and you will show him some respect. Says here on Wikipedia that he's divorced from this Pac-Man. Okay, that's it. You're punished when we get home.
Wow. That is that's something. Maybe they're going to re-release Pac-Man 2. Hopefully not.
Hopefully so, but I don't know. I just think it's weird the state he's in right now. Like, come see Pac-Man. Don't play with him. Just see him everywhere.
Well, last year also had Pac-Man Museum Plus. Hear the podcast of that on Fine Time right now.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was a thing last year. I mean, I'm just real curious what the heck is going on there.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, with the ballpark stuff, I guess I showed you the other day. That's yeah, he is
I'm
everywhere.
happy to see him. I'm just like, this is a lot of interesting disjointed stuff at once.
Well, maybe they'll just keep remaking the Pac-Man World games or something. I don't know. They always do. Pac-Man is always going to be around, I guess. Okay, here's what we're going to do now. We're going to have a very short musical interlude. On the other side of this music, we will be in full spoiler territory for the DLC for Horizon Forbidden West, Burning Shores. Okay?
Oh no, I'm not allowed.
You are not allowed here, so get out of here, Steve. If you do if you don't want to hear the spoilers for this new DLC for Horizon Forbidden West, turn off the show right now. We'll see you next time on Fine Time. But if you want to continue with us and hear me and Kevin's thoughts on the Burning Shores DLC, we are going to do so in a second. All right, Kevin, we kicked out Steve. We are here in the Burning Shores. Watch your feet. There's some lava right over there.
Get out, Steve.
You got to say it like the movie Get Out, like when he freaks out after the picture, like get out, you know, like you got to do that.
Get out, Steve.
Okay.
Is that better?
A little bit. Okay. We'll work on it.
Okay.
All right. Can I get this out of the way? I'm sorry. I can't keep this in anymore. We knew they were going to kiss, right? We knew they were going to kiss.
Yeah, I think so.
Like, even when they first showed it, because I remember, like, I don't know, a couple days before it came out, Sony released, like, a mocap sort of, like, preview thing or whatever, and it was about the person who plays Aloy and the new girl and whatever. They're talking a little bit about their dynamic. I'm like, they are so kissing. Like, of course they are. It makes sense, of course, because Elizabeth Sobek was with that one lady, the Carrie Ann Moss character or whatever, so it kind of... I mean, I don't know if sexuality works that way, but you know what I mean. Like, it makes
and they'd
sense.
already kind of positioned Aloy as a character that you can tell that she's interested in, like, developing a romantic connection. You know, maybe she's a little coy about it, but that's kind of, they've been leading up to that throughout the series.
Yeah, for sure. But you know what? I also thought about something too. Remember at the beginning of Forbidden West where the Sun King is trying to woo her, you know what I mean? And she's kind of like, you know, he's like, be my queen, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, you know, kind of, I forgot what she said. I don't think she said it to him, but she was just saying, like, I haven't really focused on myself because I've been so focused on my mission and, you know, blah, 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 you know, and that always made me go, in the back of my mind. Not that I thought she preferred women or whatever the case may be. I'm just saying that, like, when she said that, it just stuck with me, you know?
But she kind of had a romantic thing with the guy at the start of Forbidden West, too, the main game, right? There was, you know, something going on.
Yeah, there was something going on. I mean, you know, yeah. So I just kind of, but I don't know. There was just something about that line. Maybe I just read too much into it where it's just kind of like, but that's how it goes. But yeah,
well, the sun guy was greasy.
Yeah, the sun guy was greasy. So, you know how them sun people are. They're kind of, can we just start with something generic? I guess I want to ask you a question. You can take this wherever you want afterwards. Like, what did you just think of like the new map, artistically, visually, Los Angeles, fucked, like the whole bit? Like,
yeah, I that was my biggest hesitancy going into here, and I remember saying that to you that aesthetically compared to Frozen Wilds, the DLC for the first game, that one was all in the snow, which wasn't in the base game, so it was visually distinct. This one, from the preview footage, I didn't really pick up on anything visually distinct, so I was a little bit nervous it was just going to be more Horizon. But where the setting on this one really made itself stand out to me was it's very vertical, right? And it's not only does it obviously have tall buildings, but it's meant to be explored via flight. So I think, kind of leading into they did make this for PS5 only, and I think that was a excellent decision, because I don't think that they could have really design that world if this would have been also DLC on PS4, as well as how good this looked.
That last boss alone, holy shit. Like, look at that thing, right? That would have melted a PS4 into a puddle of goo. There's no way that would have been possible.
Yeah, definitely, like, scale wise, that was really cool. It kind of it reminded me of, like, just the scale of like playing Halo 3 and fighting bosses back in the day, where you could tell that they really like amped it up, and it's hard to like get that sense these days, I think, but this did it.
Yeah, that was just so super impressive to me. Like, just the size of it, the way it came out of the hall. I mean, it was like it's a video game, but it seems silly to say this. It was literally like the way I would want all of those disaster movies to be, like Independence Day, all those movies I never really liked that much. This is what I'm looking for, shit like this, and it delivered in this game, right? Like, that was some wild shit.
So while we're there, I just if we're already on the boss, because that's definitely where my criticism of this comes in. What did you like that final boss fight overall?
Yeah, I did, and I'm really curious to hear why you didn't, because I don't know, man. I thought that's exactly what I wanted from this. I've never really thought too much of Horizon bosses, whether in Forbidden West or Zero Dawn. Like, before this, I thought the boss of the first game was kind of lame, honestly. This was crazy over the top. I loved it.
Yeah. The boss in the first game I would agree with that. It probably was a little lame. This one, I felt like it was kind of a disjointed mess. I really hated that section where you start up on the high rocks and you have to like chase it down the beach. So you've got to kind of like jump and do the platforming and then get underneath of it and start shooting the heat sinks, because that thing is so big and you're focusing on the heat sinks. I got killed on that part like 3 or 4 times, and I just felt like there was really no way for me to be aware of where the Horus's legs were. And every time you died, you had to start back up at the top of that, like running down the rock part, which, I mean, we've talked before about, right, where they have like the yellow identified areas where you can like walk on or grapple or whatever, and that's like so apparent down that section. It like really lost its fun for me in that part. So yeah, definitely the beach thing. And then even like the fight with Laundra himself at the very end, I found it was just like, that just seemed a little bit draggy. That kind of went on for too long, just with like the same mechanics over and over.
See, this is what I disagree more with that than I can see what you're saying maybe about like the mechanical thing itself. The actual fight with Laundra I thought was pretty fun. I don't know. I guess I had a different experience with this. I didn't think it dragged too much. I understand what you mean though about the same mechanics or something, but I like that sort of, I don't know if war of attrition is the right word, but I think you know what I mean. I liked it a lot. I thought it was fine. And he, I don't know. That was good.
Yeah, I would have liked it if they maybe would have like tweaked it a little bit more as that fight progressed, because it takes so long, that they added like some different attacks, or the entire time basically you have to like jump over the lightning, shoot the balls coming at you, and then focus on shooting the machine when the shield is down, and that's the whole thing. So I just feel like they could have added like a little bit more variety with that.
I thought it was fine. I enjoyed it for what it was, especially if they're going to make you do something after that big monstrosity, right? It's got to be something like that, I think. So it was okay with me. I have generally enjoyed the depiction of the Western United States as in Horizon Zero Dawn and Forbidden West. Maybe it's just because I live out here, you know what I mean? Maybe that's part of it, but I really enjoyed the way they've depicted everything. It's been really good. And going to LA, obviously that's a big task, but you can, and not just the Hollywood sign and stuff, but they drop you. And I didn't notice this. I felt so stupid because, they drop you at that point and Sega wants you to come back to the point at the end. And, you have your little relationship thing. It's right in front of like the Chinese theater in LA. I don't know if you know what that is, but like it's a famous theater in LA. It's still there now. They still have like movie premieres there and stuff like that. So that was like right there, but I didn't see that the first time when I started the DLC. I only saw it when I came back. But I noticed it because I started following the street lights and stuff like that because there were still like remnants of them right there. And I was like, oh shit, it's right there. That was crazy for me to see.
So they did do like a fairly accurate, like destroyed depiction of LA then.
Oh yeah. Especially the wide shots and stuff that I think I took a few pictures of, but definitely. It was definitely looked the part as, LA 1,000 years in the future that has been broken up into mini islands because the earth is fucked and you know what I mean? Stuff like that. I mean, yeah, perfect stuff. But yeah, you got to do the Hollywood sign, right? I mean, if anyone knows anything about LA, it's probably that, but like, I just wanted to put it out there. I did recognize other stuff and it was really cool that they had stuff. Can we talk about real quick Londra's Ascension Hall dedicated to himself? It was so fucking slimy with all the big giant pictures of him like in different poses and shit. Like it was, oh man, like what I mean, I thought Faro was disgusting. Like this guy is like, holy shit.
Yeah. Well, I think there was, I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but there maybe was a little bit of like commentary as far as like online personalities and ego that was a part of that.
Mm-hmm. Of course there was.
Right. I could definitely think of some like real world people that they were likely directly referencing when they were coming up with that.
Oh yeah. Have you read some of the notes where people were complaining online about like this or that holodeck restaurant or something like that, or I'm getting my holo food from this place from now on and shit like that, like all this, like it's like fake Yelp or something like that. It was really good. Yeah.
Did you have a hard time getting back into this game a little bit? Because I found that for some reason, it hasn't been that long since this came out, and I just had a little bit of a hard time really getting back into the flow, specifically of combat. And the base mechanics here aren't overly complex, right? I know how to use all of the weapons and move around and use the tripcaster and everything, but I just never felt like I was quite as nuanced in the 5 or so hours that I was playing with this as I was when I was originally playing this game.
Yeah, that's kind of why I turned it on like a few days before the DLC came out, like the weekend before, just to reorient myself, because I'm like, I feel like I'm gonna be like really rusty here, and I was. So I did some side missions I hadn't done before. I did a couple of the bandit camps. You know what I mean? To really get my skills back in order. So I was okay going into it, but no, I was definitely rusty. It is definitely not like riding a bike. You really got to reacquire it somehow.
Yeah. There's definitely some like fairly detailed nuance with that game, I think, in the control scheme. So this kind of brought that out a little bit more.
I really liked when you got to the rocket ship and they had those like fake clouds, like the fake, like, yeah. I thought that was like a cool visual. Speaking of visuals, I think that's really the only flaw with this, and it might just be a flaw of the engine. The texture and pop in gets really bad when you're flying. You know what I mean? Sometimes, like, you could see a lot of stuff kind of, like that's the only time the picture really looks inconsistent. Otherwise, I'm not joking. It's probably like one of the best looking games I've ever seen, if not like the best.
I never had any texture and pop in issues, but I definitely did run into a few glitches in here, and I hadn't had any glitches when I first played Forbidden West. But there was a couple times where I had to reload a save when you're like before you get to the Horus and Sega pulls out that heat sink and you're supposed to shoot it.
Right.
She just like stood up on a rock and she was like, shoot the heat sink, shoot the heat sink. And all I could do was reload the save. And then also right when you have to go back and meet her in the main town after you beat the Horus, all of a sudden I fast traveled to the town and that mission was gone. So it did feel like there was a little bit of jank here.
I had a thing. You can get that first side mission where the guy wants you to go to the 2 islands and look for stuff. 1 to kill the machines, 2 to look for something else. And I went to the first island and I helped that guy, and it says kill all the machines and you can talk to him. I killed all the machines and nothing happened. I killed them all. I looked all over that fucking place. There was nothing else left to kill. So I came back to it much later in the DLC and then it worked. So I was like, okay, right, whatever, so like, yeah, I don't know what happened, but yeah, that's the only weird thing that happened to me. I like that the Laundra's AI had basically had enough of being alive with him. So she's like, just just kill me. I thought that was probably the best story bit. I love shit like that. Even though, you could say it's not a quote unquote real person or whatever. She's just talking about like him fucking with her literally her emotions, like, because every time he talks to her, it's like reduce your empathy by 20% or up this by 50%. It's like, it's just like, how can you, if you are a real synthetic being, if you're truly artificial intelligence, artificial or not, that has to be in existence. That cannot, terrible, right? Yeah, I think that's about it for me, unless you got anything else. One
other story thing. I thought it was interesting. Like that story with Sega, the way they left that off, it absolutely needs to be addressed in the next game, which actually just a few days ago, they said we're working on Horizon 3. But I don't know if I can even think of another instance where there's been like a really important story beat that they've included in paid DLC. So I guess as far as like romancing a character in DLC, that story is going to be continued to be expected. It'll be interesting to see how they handle that. Is the expectation that when you play Horizon 3 that you're already aware of the DLC content?
I think so. There was a couple things that did reference Frozen Wilds in Forbidden West. I mean, they weren't major things, right? But they did reference it. So it's not completely unheard of, but you're right. For a major story point, I think that's okay. Especially since it takes place like after the game and it's a continuation of, I think that's okay, personally.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder like how many people who played Forbidden West are going to play this DLC.
I think quite a bit, especially since it's $20. Like, I think that's just such a good price point for this.
I suppose the easy way around this too is when you start Horizon 3, if there's just like a real quick like previously on Horizon and here's who these people are and here's what's going on, and that might be the way to
Sega's got to be a part of this going forward. There's no way she can't be, Okay, so I really enjoyed it. So hopefully Horizon 3 comes out and blows us all away again. I can't wait to see what they can do on PS5 only. This is already, I'm serious, I wasn't joking. This is probably the best looking game I've ever seen. It hasn't dropped. I've been playing fantastic. I've been playing in performance mode. I haven't dropped a single fucking frame. Not a single one. It is incredible how this game, not even during that boss fight, not during anything. I have no idea how this is possible, but they're doing a great job.
I should say too, my critiques of that final boss, I very much enjoyed this DLC. If you played Forbidden West and you enjoyed it, I would recommend getting this DLC. It definitely wasn't a deal breaker by any means.
For sure. Hey, what are you still doing here, Steve? We told you to go away.
So you fellas have fun talking about the Ark the Lad game?
No.
Fuck.
That's it. All right, we're getting out of here. I have some talking to do with Steve. Find Time Podcast on Twitter. Join us there. Look in the description of this podcast to find our names on social media as well. See you next time. Bye.